What's yours then, Kazan? Come on.
Nonsense. Okay, I'll do this one. I'll do this one. This was the only chance for Spirit to win a major, despite the fact that they have the Donk.
We have a 17-year-old player that was like a 1.35 rating or something.
Yes. Absolutely. Not for Donk. I didn't say
Donk. I feel like this show is... I actually now understand a mad concept I'll explain to you very quickly, Kassad, which is I now understand why in the medieval era in Western Europe, the church had to enforce such control over people's thoughts and what they could even like discuss. Because I now realize we might actually be ruining our sanity by doing this show. We're like Doctor Strange on psychedelics in like the 9th dimension trying to come with hot takes that are so like... and I think it might actually be making some of us mentally ill. Like I'm only half joking because like, well, come on and hit me with this fucking take.
No chance they win a major anymore. Like this was their one.
Just forever. Even though there could be like 19 CS2 majors. You know,
you want me to give you a timeline? Let's say 5 years. I'll give you
just the 5 years then. Just like fucking 10 majors or something like. Right, you had your chance. You've lost the first one, and also if you don't win a major, I'll never talk to you again. Go on. What's the reasoning? What's the actual reason?
The thing is, like, I think people will figure them out right now. They're giving me the vibes of Gambit. And they switch to Cloud9 and the people start figuring them out and trying to understand the way they play. Now, definitely, you know, they have Donk. He's not like, he reminds me of like, not in a style way, but just in a numbers way, right? Of Exile back in CSGO. He was dominating. He was playing. They had Inters who was supporting. Now they have Zontix, who is an upgrade over Inters. When you compare to one and one, obviously he had a bad game in those quarterfinals and that, but I think he was sick. That's the story, at least what I heard, and he had like a high fever or something, but I don't know if it's true or not. But the thing is, like, definitely he's one of the best, if not the best, support player right now on the whole scene. Zontix is, and obviously Donk is, you know, we know the numbers, we know what he did in the past 5 months, but how long can this last? I don't think this was their best chance. Now they were in a peak of form after winning Katowice, after dominating all the fucking group stage, and they get into the perfect fucking scenario. They play the decider on Vertigo against FaZe, who perma-buns it. Even Neo says after that they practice close to 20 times. Yeah, sure. And then, like, you know, it was not true. I just watched the game. They just don't know a single grenade.
No, they just run in. They just run in.
Missing grenades.
They don't know anything, right? And they managed to lose that. And that is where I got the vibe. Yep, it's Gambit / Cloud9 all over again, right? They don't adapt to the things. Like, even though Chopper is a super smart guy, they have a good system right now. But this was the moment. I don't see it happening again. I think people are just going to adapt to them. They're still going to be a strong team. I'm not saying they're not going to be a strong team. They still might win a couple of tournaments, like the big ones, multiple even. But a major, I don't think so.
Like Donk is never Donk.
Maui, doesn't that justify your version of like, are you insane? Shouldn't that should be your moment to say, are you insane to Kassad, and what is he smoking, right? Like, he has just written off the whole squad, you know.
Okay. No,
I never said Donk, I said Spirit.
Oh, okay, Spirit.
Donk might go to another team and win fucking 10 majors.
Okay,
but,
right,
like,
fair
you
enough.
know,
Okay.
it's
Come
Spirit.
on then. What do you think, Maui?
This okay, for this take overall, Chopper just messed up so badly. He just messed up so badly for the team. The veto was ridiculous. Oh, if Holly wants to take credit for the veto too, then fuck me. But like, you know, if that veto was such a bad idea between them, but I think that they can win the next major. I think that they could definitely win the next major. I think that they're going to learn from these kinds of mistakes. This was a simple error in the veto in the second phase, where instead of playing Ancient, which is genuinely a map that you pick first in so many different series, you decided to try to punish pick and go for your worst map in your 6-map pool. That, to me, is a singular lesson that is going to reverberate through Spirit, and it's going to be a very simple moment of reflection for Chopper and for Holly and for the rest of the team to say, we're never going to put ourselves in that kind of position again, because we're not going to fuck up the veto like that, and they're going to come back for that next major. Are they going to have a chance to win it? Absolutely. What the next major, the Shanghai major, I think Spirit are going to have an excellent opportunity, assuming that this 5-man lineup stays together. Chopper, Spirit, Donk, all of them are going to come back, and I'd say that they're going to be a top 3 favorite. So I think that this is a ridiculous idea. You're always going to bet you're always going to bet the field over a single team at majors, but to say that they have no chance again is preposterous. They absolutely have a chance. They got the best player in the world. They have a top 3 rifler in Shiro. They have an IGL that has consistently made it to major playoffs. They're going to put themselves in a winning position again. They just won't fuck up the Veto as badly again.
You said, first of all, like they have the best player in the world. Monacy is not playing for Spirit. Second of all,
listen, I'll do the quick meta-analysis translation. You have to remember, in the same way as you have to do more than just 1 or 2 tournaments, like, he's just not going to give number 1 status in the world to Donk after 2 big lands. So that's just not Kassad's way. He's going to give it to Monacy because he has the legacy, right? True?
The legacy, he's just like overall better.
That's like, a hot take in itself, but okay.
That's it. Right now, Monacy is overall better than Donk. Yeah, Donk is like close second. I'm not disputing Donk, but Monacy for me is number 1 right now. Right. That's my opinion only, and you can agree or disagree. But the thing is, like you said obviously that he's the best one. I don't think he's the best. And second of all, you mentioned Shiro. You said he is a rifle. I think you meant the op. But the thing is, like, he is not even 50% of what he was in his prime in Gambit and Gambit Youngsters and Cloud9, or like at least at the beginning of Cloud9. Not even at 50%. There is no clutch potential anymore. There is no multi-kills potential anymore. He's not the same Shiro as it was. Maybe it's the system, maybe it's him. He is not really a threat in that team as other oppers in the other teams are. He's not a threat. Donk is the threat. You neutralize one threat, what does Spirit have? Nothing. Dontix as a support, and that's it. Shiro is not really performing the way that you can put them like as a contenders for the next major, right? Another time that Donk can have a great tournament and 157 rating, yeah, it can happen, but not on a major. What else I'm going to say? Yeah, about the Veto, like, that's a fucking mistake and a half for not taking Vertigo Insta. They had an option to pick it instantly. They went for Mirage and lost it. If I am them, and I was in that spot, I take the map they're vetoing in the last 5-6 years since it came out. Last time I think they played was in Rio against, whatever, like it was Bad News Eagles, and they lost and they went out 0-3. I remember I expelled FaZe from the major on Vertigo. And that's when they stopped playing it. Back as Renegades in 2019. And they stopped playing it since then. They played it once where they gambled, they lost. Now they left it open in the quarters and in the semis. You saw what happened in the semis against Vitality.
Oh, yeah.
Not in the semis, yeah. In the semis against Vitality. Like, it was a disastrous shit show. Vitality just ran over them. If Spirit picked that map, Vertigo, and just straight into going into that map, it would be 13-6 to them, and they would be in those semifinals. They would be in the second map too. But they got scared. Yeah. They got scared. They picked Mirage. They lost Mirage. They barely won Nuke. They went on Vertigo, managed to come back, and they choked it in the overtime. So mistake on the Veto. Should have been Vertigo instantly picked in that fucking quarterfinals. Instantly. They had the opportunity to do it, to close them out 2-0. They got scared. They paid for it. For me, it's giving me those vibes, but I tell you individually as well. Like, okay, Chopper is a smart guy. They play good Counter-Strike. Shiro is not who you think he is. Like, he's not the CS2 guy. The same as Exile. They're not the same people. How can we on one side say, listen, Nico is not what he was, and completely be blind to these other players? It's the same fucking thing.
Shiro was really bad in the quarters, but he was. I mean, the thing is, on stage, he obviously faltered, but like during the group stage part, he was sick. Shiro was really good. I mean, he has over half of the rounds that Shiro played, he got a multi-frag or 1 or more kills. So he's fragging. He's still fragging out. I don't know what happened on stage. Shiro did look like a shell of himself, but I'm not gonna say the entire performance for the event was like that. Like when he played against all these other teams, he was like everything to get to 3-0. Shiro was practically like, if it weren't for Donk on his team, he's putting up MVP level numbers too. He's still freaking good.
One game that he was really fucking good was against Navi, and that's a 2-0 game. And that was like the game that I can like say, okay, this was the Shiro that maybe can do it. But other games, including the match against FaZe, like, what are we talking about? Like, they beat Imperial 13-2. And they beat Cloud9 37.
Are you ready?
Yeah, sorry, go.
I'm going to completely go against Kassad on this one. In fact, the saddest thing is, I'll leave the last part till the end. It's going to even be, the joke is, I could just do a hot take off this, but then it's the shittest hot take of all time once I make my points, so I'll just make the points first. So first of all, my problem is this. The team spirit I saw looked nowhere close to losing until the third map of the series. Like, they were, even when they lost Mirage, like, you knew they'd fucking win Nuke. They were dominant, by the way. It's only in the end of the game that FaZe did some hero plays to drag it to OT, and they couldn't win because they had to just do infinite hero plays, and eventually, Spirit's just a better team, they won. Now, I agree with Kassad, though. The stupidest thing they did, this is so stupid, and a lot of fans aren't going to understand because they're going to go, I don't understand. It's the same maps, though. No, you idiot. The map that you play first in a series as your map pick is very different from the deciding map on stage to eliminate you from the tournament. By the way, the thing about Spirit is they're never in elimination games, so they never have to feel that pressure. You can front run if you're sick. Carrigan did it with FaZe at the beginning. That's why they tore up those two events, because they beat everyone 2-0 and smashed them all 13-8, 13-6, so he never ever had to feel pressure and feel like, oh, what am I doing calling for? He never was in that spot until he got to the Boston Major and against SK and all the rest of it back in the day. So what I would say is this. First of all, you just instantly punish pick the vertigo. You go onto it. You go, guys, they almost certainly haven't practiced. This is the first map we're all playing. We're not even warmed up. No one's won a clutch in this series. Yeah, it's map 1. I agree. You just shit on them. It's 13-8. It's 13-6. I don't care if someone wins a 1vx. I don't care if you get lucky. You probably do just smash them, and it's 2-0 at that point in time. And even if it isn't, the third map's comfort. The third map's a map you enjoy, and that would play out differently also. So I think, actually, I agree. The Veto's a fuck up, but here's what I'm going to say about that. They learned their lesson, Kassad. That was, I hope they did. They've never been in that spot before. They've never been in that situation to make that mistake. I even said this to Maui. I think the most criminal thing about actually letting it through, I would have just vetoed it and gone to like Ancient or something. The reason why is because, bro, on the other 5 maps, you beat them. Yeah, they beat you on Mirage because they played an awesome game. But if you say to me, I'm getting 3 out of the 5 maps that aren't the Perma and Vertigo, does Spirit win? Yes, Spirit beats FaZe Clan. I would be very confident that. I think even FaZe Clan would fucking agree with me. That's the biggest joke of all. Like they said, I don't think they expected this to be the decider. I think what happened is this, and this happened to a lot of coaches, listen up, Taz, is G2, FaZe Clan and Carrigan made a genius bluff, and then you were like, ha, okay, I counter your bluff. Shit. I make it the decider. Even more genius. Even more, except here's the problem. You aren't Carrigan, idiot. Carrigan does this also because if anyone could get away with pulling strats out of his arse on a fucking map he doesn't play, it's Carrigan. Remember, because he's failed so many times, when he's the underdog like this, he just thinks, fuck it, I'm just going for it, mate. I'm not going to choke. I've already had that time in my career. The joke is, I actually think why he was bad in the final. It's because he was such an overwhelming favourite. In his brain, you have to believe you were going to win. You couldn't ever believe you were going to lose. We didn't believe they were going to lose, guys, until it was like 0-9 or something, or fucking 0-7 or something mental. Like, we all thought they're just going to break it and come back. Everyone did. So that in its own way has a difficult. That's why everyone cries about, I want to be the underdog. You look stupid, because if you're FaZe and Spirit, you shouldn't ever be the underdog. But in this scenario, I don't think they'll do that veto again. I think they've actually learned the hardest lesson, which is we probably just taught. By the way, here's the other thing. Once I see Navi win the major, Jesus Christ, Hallie, if that was you just threw the fucking major in the bin, mate. Like, next time, let's get it sorted. So you fixed that already. Then I'll go with this. Donk was insane anyway. I actually, you know what? He's had like maybe one bad map at the RMR. He had like one that didn't have the stats, but if you watch it, it's not terrible. Remember, you don't always get every fucking entry duel you want. Donk just doesn't play bad. Like, he's actually, this is why, by the way, I point out when Zero drops off, he doesn't play bad, but he doesn't play as well. Donk has like a flaw that is mental for a rifler. I've never seen it ever in my life. Like his eye, because he does that thing that the AWPers do. Riflers don't do this. What Donk does is, Zero's done this loads of times, Simple's done loads of times. They start a game like, he's starting off slow, isn't he? What the fuck? He's like 2-9. And then you start going like back in MR15, like, he's having a bad game. You do a tweet like, ooh, is it an off game? And then you know what happens. They win like 1-1v1, and then they do like 3-3Ks in a row. And then suddenly on the scoreboard, what the fuck? He's second to top. And at the end, every dickhead fan, you said he was bad. It's like, what? Yeah, because normal players can't do that. Like, it's like that thing back in the day where in the NBA, you could actually sit the starters if you were up by 20 with like 8 minutes to go, because it's impossible to come back in a game. People don't shoot 3-pointers back then. Like, you'd won the game already. So Donk is so insane that like, that wasn't even peak Donk in the semis. Like, he can still improve. He can play better. And here's the thing. Let me build all these points. Let me do it. All right, unless you have a good point. Go on then. Come back in if you got a good point.
But the thing is, like, how many years took Navi to win the major? and they had fucking simple. What are we talking about here?
They didn't have a line. Here's the thing. There's a hot take for you. This lineup's better than all those Na'Vi lineups until they got the 2021 one. Yeah, you don't like that one, do you? Mate,
No,
Edward was a bomb at that point in time.
Based on what would you say that? Like,
Flamey was garbage. Edward is an actual piece of trash, losing rounds constantly. And then Zeus was a great leader, but he had a massive ego, and he would purposely pick Inferno because it's his favourite map when they had like a 58% win rate on it, and ignore Train where they had like a 75% win rate for 2 years. So there's why that team wasn't actually that good. It had reasons why they didn't win. It wasn't just that.
Also, listen, Duncan, they didn't play against Australis 2018. They didn't play against strong teams. The competition wasn't that strong. You know who was strong? Fucking Simple. He was stronger than anyone.
Yeah, I agree.
They should have won that. Like, how many years it took them? Like, why is it really different for Spirit?
Oh no, but that's what you have given 5 years though. You didn't say don't win your hell take should be the next one. You're saying 5 years, mate. So let me cook. So the problem here is I actually normally, guys, should even say, to be fair, Donk could fall off. I actually don't think that right now. He has defied all my expectations to the fact I can't say he'll fall off. So if he keeps playing well, here's how I'll spin the other way on Kassad. Bro, they were 1 round away from going like to the fucking finals, essentially. Maybe they were like 2 rounds or something. I can't remember. They were in OT anyway. When they were in OT, they were a couple of rounds away. And that's with Zontic shit in the bed, Shiro shit in the bed. And they do a stupid Veto, go on to an uncomfortable match. Like, bro, if they just do all these things right, Veto normally, one of the two doesn't shit the bed. Shiro, by the way, I agree. Shiro isn't as good as in Gambit, but here's the thing. He doesn't need to be. He's actually got more of a comfy role generally, and he does that thing where he just does the trade frag. That's actually working like a motherfucker because Donk's so good. Like when you say neutralise Donk, good luck with that. No one's figured it out yet. Everyone thinks they have. Everyone who thinks, by the way, this is where I also wish the bracket was different. You know that narrative from the RMR, like, Mouse cooked them. Yeah, the fucking worthless RMR, like, what was it, like a 2-0 game? Who gives a shit, mate? Who gives a shit? That is literally it's like why he said earlier he doesn't care about the Cloud9 Na'Vi one. It's the least important game of the tournament, mate. The one who wins, brilliant, but the one who loses, you're still alive anyway. It's not elimination in the same way. It isn't. And by the way, these are teams that think they're in the playoffs anyway. They're not like, if Eternal Fire's there, yeah, the fucking getting the playoffs is everything. This is our world championship. No, these other teams, it's just a game. Cloud9 also would probably have come through the next matches if they'd lost that one. So then the last thing to say is this. I actually think also that the Zontic's angle is the one most likely to improve. Like, I have seen the odd major where Shiro can chalk in a big game. Zontic's, for real, he's never played that bad in his fucking life, mate. That was another super young rookie player at his first major, and he just got in. And by the way, he's also playing, I think, the nightmare team at a major in the playoffs. The most experienced, like, mega clutch guys who never give up because they all know they can win a bonkers 1v2. Even Carrigan is popping your head, and fucking Donk's head, by the way, when he runs round a corner. Boomer Carrigan with an MP9 and a fucking Mac 10, and shitter AK just shooting in your belt while you miss all the bullets around him. Like, I actually think, here's what I would spin it into. This is what I was going to say my hot take, but the problem is, how can this be a hot take? Surely every fan's going to go, Thorin, that doesn't count as a hot take, so I'll take the side of the fans. Here's my hot take. Team Spirit wins the Shanghai Major. How'd you like that? They would be my number 1 team to win the Shanghai Major. If I look at the average level of play, I look at, like I say, it actually took a lot for them to lose, and they barely lost. And they're never going to do that Veto again. I'm telling you, they've learned their lesson, mate. I think they'd be fools to keep doing that routine. I think they themselves realised, because remember, Halley himself, he's never been at this level. He's never been in a semi of a major. I bet he's right. I bet in a fucking online tournament, you could do this. It wouldn't matter. He didn't know what it was like to be in the major, mate. Like, his players, remember, in that scenario, he doesn't know they're going to whiff. He doesn't know they're going to get scared. He doesn't know they're going to feel uncomfortable because of the map. Essentially, Halley actually did. The joke is, he did the fucking Swanee, didn't he? Except it was Huxley, but he did the Swanee Veto, didn't he? But he did it in the fucking semi-finals of the World Championships. I'll say they win the next major. Fuck it.
Back straight to Huxley, because you said they would learn their lesson. Did Huxley learn his lesson after Fnatic? 2 majors like later, and then there is the same thing. Does that happen to Spirit? You know. You would think so. They would learn, but
so.
they don't, right?
No, I'm obviously speculating. Sure, I'm speculating.
Yeah, but I mean, I would say they're not winning the major.
Okay.
You know, but you cannot say like unlimited time, because like, what, you're gonna wait?
No, I think it's fair. You've made it 5. Okay.
Yeah, I made it 5. Like,
and also,
time, but,
listen.
You know.
Nothing against you guys. I don't think we'd be doing this show in 15 years, or after 19 CS2. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but just saying, that'll be quite a while from now. You know, it'd be a pretty long running show, if so.
You never know, man. Don't give up on our show.
And also, what sort of insane pull would that be if we were like, Like it's the year is like 2029. It's like, well, Kassad, it's like when you said back in 2024 that Spirit would never win the major, and they've just won their major. Donk, who's now like, I don't know, 26 or something, he's finally got his major. It took him all those years, but he did indeed get it. So do you admit you are wrong? No. And also, back then in time,
probably win, the very last opportunity, they will probably win that major.
And then the joke is, then Kassad goes.
Defuse on.
And now I have my
11.
take. I believe Huxley will not win the next CS2 19th major. Like, whatever. The joke is he's still in G2. He's still in G2 all those years.
To see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.